And welcome to the Dawg and Gus show. Still waiting.
I know, it's just weird without having something to say after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're actually pretty lucky to have somebody in studio.
Hey, he's right here.
I know.
Yeah.
Dallas Alexander.
I feel lucky to be here.
Yeah. It's funny because we were talking just before the show and you're actually going to Nashville. You posted that today, I think, or yesterday, that you're going to go back. And the last time we spoke, you were going to Nashville.
Yeah, the last time we spoke was the first time I'd ever been to Nashville. That was 5 or 6 trips ago now.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So obviously the career has been growing, and it's great to see. We love watching you from afar, but definitely, what have you learned since the last time we spoke about, going out on tour and going to check out different spots like Texas and Nashville and all those things?
I've learned a lot. I've learned that there is a ton of really good musicians out there. Very talented folks. I've learned that the music business is a large percentage, not really anything to do with music or music playing or writing per se. I'm an independent artist. So it's, there's like distribution things and how you're going to deal with that and who's going to do that. And then, content creation is a big piece of it, fortunately or unfortunately. And then just like everything from marketing and PR and all of that stuff, there's so much of my day that is not playing the guitar. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
That part was the amount of work that's not playing music was sort of like surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But I feel you still want to keep your hands in that, right? And not have some unknown entity decide who Dallas Alexander is and what he's going to play.
Totally.
Because I feel like a lot of country artists or artists in general get lost in that. Like, yeah, we'll just let this guy decide. And there's some guy in a suit who has no idea what country music or whatever is about deciding what you're going to be doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I just want to be able to play and express and sing and make whatever I feel like doing. So there's that. And then the learning of a lot of the other things. I want to know what these different parts of my business are about before I hand it off, to someone. So it's kind of why I'm like, a million hours of tutorial videos and how to upload a song and all the links and file formats and all that crap.
Well, it's good to know it all.
It's not know
Or
it all.
Yeah.
Or not.
Well, it's the good thing is I think timing is good because you can YouTube something and figure something out on the fly. I mean, I've done that obviously with our show and not like we're not touring, that's for sure. So there's a lot of that goes along, but I think the touring part is probably the easiest part because you just have to go and play. I know there's a lot of scheduling and preparing and how challenging it is to be traveling and such. But I think what I mean is you don't have to do all the remedial stuff that like kind of get, that you're not good at,
Yeah.
You're getting better at it. Of course,
found so I started organizing my own shows, I guess at the tail end of last year, or no, we're 2024. So 2022 and I think November of 2022 was like the first ticketed show we had done. So it was working with venues and then organizing, our own shows and the ticket links and all that stuff. And then we went on tour last year from September to November with Gord Bamford. And it was like everything was taken care of. We just like get there and play our music and then do it over and over and over again. And it was super cool to see like at that level how stuff is done, like the production and the setup and the stage, just everything. And getting to just pick the brain of the crew and the band and Gord and how it's done. And he's been doing it for so long that they have a pretty slick operation.
Yeah, no doubt.
That was really cool to see.
Well, you must have done something right because you're touring with him again.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually signed. So speaking of all the pieces of the business, I signed with Cash Entertainment, which is his label, but it's more for management. So we've been working together on all kinds of stuff. He's kind of guiding in a lot of places where I don't really have any insight. And yeah, so we're going to go back on tour with him in April, Alberta, Saskatchewan.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Alberta would be, that's like where you're from. So that's
Right.
kind of, that must be exciting to go play at home.
Yeah. The tour we were on in September, or we actually ended in November. The last 2 dates were Calgary and Edmonton. And
Oh, yeah.
that was a lot of fun. They were crazy.
So
Love
is it
love
just
their country.
is it just going to be Calgary and Edmonton? You're going to play some smaller
No, most
smaller
of this-
cities in Alberta.
Yeah, most of this is actually small town stuff with Gord. Now we're adding a bunch of dates on our own with like my trio.
Okay.
So we're gonna do like Longview, Alberta. We're gonna play Calgary, Okotoks, Edmonton. Talking about Red Deer, but that might be pushed later in the year. And we're gonna play in Saskatoon, and then with Gord, it's mostly small towns.
Very good.
Awesome. It's awesome. Like, and I think that, what's your favorite part so far? Like, just like meeting the people, like feeling the vibe of the actual crowd. Like, what's the stuff that you get from everything on the tour?
Yeah, I think the lot like actually playing, just doing the part that means the most, playing live music, and then meeting all the people that come out. Like on that tour with Gord, it's for us very big crowds, you know, from 500 to a few thousand, and we would just go hang out at our merch table after and meet everyone until we were either kicked out of the venue or people stopped coming over. So we got to meet thousands of people over the few months, and it was amazing. People were really connecting with our music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you, I was telling Dawg before you got here, like listening to Child of This Land and Can't Blame My Bloodline, and like how you've grown as an artist. Not to say like what I loved your other stuff. Adios Amigo, still a great tune that I still listen to quite often, and wear the t-shirt that you gave me. Thank you for that. But definitely I find that you're kind of going more towards a real country feel. Would that be correct?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really try to go towards anything. If people ask me what I play, I always say like I play country inspired music, because fiddle's my favorite instrument and country's my favorite music. But I don't really write something and be like, okay, I need to write a country song. I need to write a real country song. Just whatever I write, if I like it, then we either will record it or play it. In the process of doing that, always add fiddle. It always gets a country vibe, you know, harmonica or dobro, steel guitar. I love all those sounds. So it definitely comes out as very country. And the studio record, like those 2 songs are from, it was such a cool, like Gord helped to organize it all. So he was one of the producers, and it was like, I would just describe what I really liked to this, you know, group of extremely professional musicians. And then they'd go in and just like, I'm trying to like guide the sound without knowing what the hell I'm talking about. You know, I'm like, how about a little more like this? And then they talk professionally and they sort it out. So it was really cool. And it was like, everyone was very patient with me to get the sound that we got. And I'm excited. Like the album, it's 8 songs, and those are the first 2 singles out. And the next one's going to be Adios Amigo. Actually, we redid it in the studio. So I think it's cool how it all turned out, and it did end up sounding very country for the most part, but it's not like intentionally. I start by saying like, how do I write a good country song? You know,
Just write a good song, right?
Yeah.
And it just happens to go towards what you like, which makes sense.
Yeah, and what I'm inspired by, and that tends to come out in the sound.
Yeah, you just write a good song, then you add a fiddle and a dobro and a harmonica, and there you go.
Yeah.
How does it not turn out country?
How it can't not, and that's
I
okay.
love the fiddle. That's the best. Like I love the fiddle.
Yeah, well, gotta love a good fiddle.
When's the album being released?
So it's out right now.
Okay.
On the internet, so it's available on my site, and we sell it at live shows. I only have it out in vinyl and like limited amount of CDs. So I put it out that way, and now online I'm releasing 1 song every 6 to 8 weeks. It's been a little bit longer on this last one, but we're gonna put out Adios Amigo next month. Like 6 to 8 weeks later, another one, until all 8 songs are out. So technically it's out, but it's being like slow rolled on.
You're doing it like the old school way.
Yeah, I wanted to have something like real out first.
Well, we'll have to get a copy of the vinyl.
We like that.
You.
I actually meant to bring one. Like
That's okay. No, it's okay.
Halfway here, I'm like, shit.
Yeah. No, we'll both take one. We'll purchase it with proper. You can get this hat too on his website if you want to get the
merch. Yeah. Just met with an artist today. We got some new merch coming out too. It's looking pretty cool. Yeah,
your merch is actually, everybody makes a t-shirt, but I think yours are like there's reasoning behind it. And, you know, like the hotel t-shirt that I got from you is amazing. And there's a great story behind that, of course. But yeah, it's cool that you're incorporating it all. I mean, obviously I think like we've talked about you and Mikhail Laxton and a bunch of guys from Ottawa that are going to be massive. And I think that you're going to be right there. And it's not like that's probably you want to be as big as possible and you want to make music your life, which is what all that you really want. But what I mean by it is you're going to be successful, like by more years are going to hear your music. Like I say that about Mikhail too. So have you heard his stuff?
I have.
Yeah. He's a good guy.
I haven't seen him live yet. I think there was a show he was playing in Smith Falls I was going to try and get to, and some weather thing happened or something that got canceled.
Yeah.
I've definitely listened to his tunes. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, he's played there a couple times.
You guys, your hat game, like in his hat game, are on point.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
So are we going to call him Hat Axe? Is that what we're going to call him?
No. But you know, he always has a proper hat on when he's playing, and then Dallas has when he wears his cowboy hat, it looks proper. You know,
mix the headwear.
Yeah.
We're all about the headgear here on the show.
Today, apparently, yeah. Which song from the current album is your personal favorite and why?
I think that's changed a few times where I'd be like, this is the one, that's the one. I think Childless Land, when we finished it, was my favorite. When it came out after like we got this Indigenous powwow singer and Graham Rohan Sr. to sing on it. And once he put his touches on it and I heard it, I was like, it gave me tingles. And it ended up being why we released that song first. It was my favorite.
Yeah, it's I'm sorry, checking your website now, which is right. We can obviously that's all the music's there. But when I listen to that song, does that like go back to your Métis roots? Like, is that where you kind of
yeah? Like it's the lyrics. Just when I hear it, it's so visually like correlated to where I grew up that I just picture like all these areas in like the little community I grew up in, and then having him sing on it, and I grew up going to powwows and stuff, and like it just it very much feels like home.
Yeah. No, it's a great song.
I think that's going to stick and be your favorite. I just said that.
Yeah.
I just decided for Dallas that's his favorite song.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Made it easy for me.
Yes, I did. That's what we're here for. So now you're going down to Nashville again.
Yeah.
You're going to be doing some writing, collaborating.
Yeah.
Is there anybody, if you had a bucket list of who you'd like to collaborate with, give us, I wouldn't say top three, but what comes to mind first person that you'd love to sit down and write a song with?
Jamie Johnson.
That was so slow. I'd have to ask you again.
I love that song In Color that he does.
He's
like
amazing.
That one is like, I tear up for that song because I think of my grandfather who went to war and all these things. Like, I don't know. I visualize him marrying my grandmother and it was in black and white, but
yep, that's one of his,
it's just a great song.
Yep. He's really amazing.
Good. Yeah.
That's a good call.
Johnson. That's funny that you jumped right in there.
Yep.
There was no hesitation.
Oh, he's my favorite country singer.
Yeah. We approve.
So I say the Turnpike's my favorite band.
Yep.
Or Whiskey Myers, and Jamie Johnson's my favorite.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Some pretty solid choices there.
Yeah. What's the worst advice you've received so far?
Oh man. Oh God, I don't know. Maybe I must just ignore it really quickly if it comes. I think just anyone that leans toward making music for, let's say, the radio or anything like exactly for this. Now I understand there's a whole business of people that write songs specifically for stuff, for movies, for whatever. I think the worst advice, because it's personal to how I see art, is creating it for somebody else first. And then like, oh, did that work? And change it up. And it's only the worst advice for me personally, because that's not how I want to play music. So, there's a handful of people that might be like, okay, this is on the radio, I need to make a song like that. And they probably make way more money than I do. But for me, it's not the way I want to write or play or connect with people. So I'd say anything that's like, think about this before you think about the art or what you're creating is bad advice.
It's good.
That's good advice.
It's good advice from the bad advice.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, it just kind of leans back on the whole, like when you lose control of your voice, as it were. Like you're a singer songwriter, and then you got some guy like me in a suit saying, "No, you know what, Dallas, you're not going to sing that song like this. You're going to do this instead.
Give us a little more of this.
Yeah, give us a little bit more. We want you to sound a little bit more like so and so."
Yeah.
And I find that a lot of guys, because they want to get their name out there, fall into that trap where it's like, okay, and then they just get lost in the shuffle, right? A few rise above it, and a lot get lost.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people make their first album with the intentions of becoming, you know, either famous enough to write the music that they want to write.
Yeah.
And I think that sticking to your guns is actually going to benefit you long term, because it's just, you know, like you're like you said, it's not about the money for you. You're actually writing stuff that you want to write and singing what you want.
I think that's what keeps, like, any art, what keeps it like relevant. I don't know if that's the right word, but important maybe, is like every person will create something different, and that's what you want to hear. You don't want to hear, you know, you turn on the radio and if there's 7 artists and you don't know the difference between anyone, it's like, is that connecting? Do I love that? No, maybe it sounded okay. I don't know. But I think like an artist creating what is important to them will connect more with someone. Like,
absolutely.
Truthfully.
Yeah.
I believe that. This guy, like, you know, they got the conveyor belt of, okay, well, this works right now. Like, we'll use Taylor Swift as an example. Okay, you're going to need to sound like this because this is what's popular right now. And a lot of people, okay, you know what you're doing. Like sitting in your office with your suit and tie and never listened to a country song in your life. But yeah, absolutely. You know exactly what you're talking about. And then unfortunately they get lost in the mix. I can think of a lot of artists that have just gone.
Taylor's come out of it pretty good.
I know, but she's amazing. But I'm just saying that, like, that's what they're kind of basing it.
No, you're right.
This is what you need to sound like, but I'm not Taylor Swift. You're right. You're not Taylor Swift, but you're going to sound like her. Like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
Or as an example.
Yeah. Taylor was like born to be a musician.
She's a very smart lady.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. Like, it's hard to keep your ethics and whatever else when there's people that are pushing you one way when you don't want to go that way and you do it anyway. I think that you'll never make the right music or any art, like you said, if you're being pushed to do something that you're not comfortable doing. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, like my art is different than most, but definitely I think that you're on the right track there. How do you like, if you have creative blocks or performance anxiety, how do you deal with those things?
Performance anxiety, I found, like, I think last time I was chatting with you guys, it maybe been a year or something since my first open mics, where I probably said that I was like scared shitless to sing to 6 or 7 people that weren't even listening. I found just playing as much as possible, playing, intimate settings, larger settings, empty bars, full bars, like playing as much as possible just makes you more comfortable playing.
Yeah.
For the writer's block, I don't know. I never really had it, but I also am still learning a lot. So, like, it's not like I sit down and write and everything is awesome. So that could be, maybe writer's block is like I'm blocked from writing awesome stuff. But I write like every single morning, almost every morning. I just write a page of stuff, like whatever. It's in view of them being song lyrics, but just write and write and write. And if you stop, look at an object in the room, keep writing. And it just helps things flow, and there will be lines and things and ideas that come out of it. And then I look at the world. I try to remember to look at the world through the lens of writing a song also. So, like, I have a gajillion voice notes and little notes in, like, my phone that are an idea or a title or a theme or something.
Yeah.
And then I'll go back and visit it and try and turn it into a song later.
That's cool. It's almost like journaling, but you're because you're waking up and kind of doing a brain dump, but it's actually going to be used for a purpose.
Yep.
Yeah.
And maybe not. It's just like I write it as if no one will ever read it but me. Half of it doesn't even make any sense. But sometimes I'm like, oh, that's good. And it'll flow into something and have a chorus or a verse or a song idea.
Very cool. That's awesome.
Do you, I call this, we talked about mental health a lot on the show. And do you have a mental health song, like a song that you go to if you're not, you're not feeling too good about the world today? Do you have a song that you pick and just listen to just to either to get you back on track or just because you just need to hear it?
Oh, geez, for mental health. Oh, I think any good music helps mental health for me. Like there's a ton of songs that I will just always go back and visit, all the way from like, Waylon and Johnny songs to stuff that's still coming out every month. There's songs that I'll just hear and it'll catch my ear and ends up on repeat some way or another in my truck or at home. Yeah, I don't know. There's a song, I don't know if you've heard it, on Riley Green's new album called Damn Country Music. And as soon as I heard that song, like I listened to it probably a million times in the last like month. You're welcome for the streams, Riley Green.
I'm gonna check that one out. It is true though. Like music is therapy. Like we've said it so many times, but I produce it, like making music and listening to it. It can make you feel all the emotions. Like you can go back down to something that might have happened in your life, and then you can go forward with what's happening in your life and what you want to see. And I love music for that reason. I think that's such a great answer, because it's so true. You just fire any music on that really pumps you up. Like I could put on 90s hip hop, and then I put on like Chris Stapleton, and then I'm like all over the joint.
Yeah.
And he'll listen to 15 seconds of each song.
No, I'm
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
I get bad at it. I'm bad at it. I do listen to full albums when I'm listening to like hard copies, but I find with my phone, I'll be searching for that song. Like it's just I always say that, but it's like the sound that I want to hear. I don't know what that is yet until I hear it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Find that one.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. He gives me shit about it all the time, but that's okay.
Try driving in a car with him.
Yeah, that's challenging.
Yeah, it's especially when I'm just like, all
right.
right. Oh, there we just
changed
changed it.
steering wheel. Like you just ding, 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 ding.
I like to talk to the automakers about that.
Yeah, I listen to Dallas's music all from start to finish. I'm
That's because I made you.
Right. Yeah.
To play. He said you'll like this song, and what was the song? The new one?
The Bloodline.
Yes.
Yeah. I really love that song. I like both, and I love the Indigenous singing in the your other single that's out right now. It's amazing. Like you were saying.
Well, Gus, he started playing it just like from the first note. I'm like, yep, I like it.
Yeah.
I haven't heard you even sing yet. And I was like, I love this song.
Well, it's like an outlaw country song,
Yeah.
And like you mentioned, you very much love outlaw country. So, it's nice to have some back. Who's outlaw these days? You think?
Oh man, depends on your definition. But Willie's still going.
Yeah, he's rolling. Did you listen to that album where everybody covers his music?
I listened to some of it.
Yeah. Leon Bridges' song is amazing, and
I think I saw him play it live somewhere, not on an album. Maybe at like a.
It's on the Troubadour. I think they played at the Troubadour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
I think Jamie Johnson's outlaw.
Damn
does
right.
his own thing and
Damn right he is.
Yeah.
doesn't really care.
Luke Combs too, a little bit, like sometimes.
Ish.
Yeah.
He's got a side. I love what he is doing with his platform being as big as it is, and bringing on bands like Cody Jinks or Flatline Cavalry to open up and play to 90,000 people or whatever the hell they play to. I like that he's doing that.
Yeah, he does use his platform for good, for sure.
Not for evil. Good job.
Yeah. Speaking of platform, like you've obviously grown your social media to a great extent. Like you're doing great on there. Do you find that do you have like a way that you want to be seen on there, or do you just kind of put stuff out and just be yourself? Is that more your thing?
I think it's the latter. I just put out whatever I'm feeling. I don't know. I don't have I work with some marketing people, and there's like, you want to look at it and see what's performing and do more of that. But I almost feel like it's the same as music, where I'm like, I don't think I want it. Like, I use it a lot because it is a way to connect to people that are enjoying your music and tell them about, shows and whatever. But it's just, if you are on there, you'll get a little piece of kind of everything that I'm about. It's all over the map generally.
Yeah. Which is a good thing. Do you feel like playing us something?
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, you brought your guitar.
Got a guitar.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Sure, this is in tune.
You
put it in the cold truck though.
Yeah, but it warmed up in here, so it should be.
Well,
I know
it goes.
in and out.
Yeah.
I know. I understand that part.
Do you?
No, not really. I'm not a musician,
No.
and I don't play one on television.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I don't pretend to be.
What are you gonna play?
We can play Can't Blame My Bloodline.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Got arms on these chairs.
Yeah.
When my wife's picking chairs in the house, like, that one has arms, can't have it.
It makes sense. Something to think about for our studio.
Armless chairs.
And I want a round table.
Okay. Can you let the man sing?
Yes.
Thank you.
Can't blame my bloodline. Can't blame my bloodline for the things I do. I can't blame whiskey and I can't blame you. I can't blame Waylon and his outlaw song. My own damn fault, sing along. I ain't blaming no one but me. I ain't blaming no one but me. Well, I've been known to be a country song, leaving crying in the rain when I'm gone. And even though mama tried, I still can't seem to walk the line. If you point your fingers, you can point them at me. 'Cause it's my fault, as far as I can see. I can't blame my bloodline for the things I do. I can't blame whiskey and I can't blame you. And I can't blame Waylon and his outlaw songs. It's my own damn fault, I sing along. Well, I ain't blaming no one but me. Well, I ain't blaming no one but me. Well, I've been known to have a fight inside, load on up, and then we ride. And I've been known to let my darkness show, even pushing up daisies full of bullet holes. You point your finger, you can point them at me. 'Cause it's my fault, as far as I can see. I can't blame my bloodline for the things I do. I can't blame whiskey and I can't blame you. And I can't blame Waylon and his outlaw songs. It's my own damn fault, I sing along. Well, I ain't blaming no one but me. Well, I ain't blaming no one but me. Said I ain't blaming no one but me.
Woo! Beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, here.
It's like almost like a different rendition, right? It's like a acoustic version.
Yeah, change the acoustic.
But so good. So good. I love that tune. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a whole lot of awesome. We love that when it happens in studio.
Dog misses the live show.
I do.
That's the only challenge with when we do it, kind of like the way we're doing it now on
Yeah.
this app, is we don't get to have people come in and play. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Go.
Where does that obviously there was you talk a bit about the outlaw country that you did listen to in that song. Where did it come from essentially?
The song idea?
Yeah.
It was actually the last song I added to the album, and actually, well, it became the name of the album. It's Can't Blame My Bloodline, and I had 7 songs, and I just wanted to have 8 for some reason. I don't know. It seemed like a good number for my first record, and I didn't quite have one in the repertoire that I wanted to kind of take that place, and this was kind of the vibe idea I had for it. So I went to Nashville and did a few more co-writes with this in mind, and didn't really get the right sound. And then was in Nashville, and this singer from Key West named Cliff Cody. I've been trying to write with him for a while. And he's like, "Yeah, if you come down now, we can get a write in." So I called home and, "Sarah, should I go to Key West?" And she's great. She's like, "Yeah, change your flight." I'm like, okay. So I went to Key West and wrote with him. We wrote a really good song, and he plays it all the time, but it wasn't quite the right song for this either. And I got home, I want to say it was like quick, like 4 days total in these 2 places. And I was tired. I was pretty hungover, and I was just walking around the house, and I was actually carrying my son, and then the chorus idea came to me, and it was more like I was hungover, and I'm like, I can only blame myself for this.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And then a chorus idea came, and then that night I woke up in the middle of the night with the idea for both the verses and wrote it at like 1 or 2 in the morning. And I was like, I think we got it. I think we got the song.
Amazing.
And then when the guys in the studio, they kind of like, I just played it just like that without the slow intro. And everyone kind of pitched in and started playing. It was all recorded like live off the floor, I guess they call it. So everyone's playing at the same time. And I loved the vibe. And it's like, so whatever that was, that's the one we got to go with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please tell me you were recording this while we were doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you find that you're learning so much new terminology with when you're recording, like you just said, live off the floor or on the floor?
Totally.
And yeah.
It was like they're speaking another language. When I first went into the studio, like, because you go in and I was just with the engineer. We'd like track everything off the chords and keys that I'd written it in. I was playing. We kind of get a tempo and talk about if we want a little bit faster, a little slower. And then when all the musicians were there, he like had charted everything out in like call it Nashville numbering system. So it's like whatever key it's in, the chords would be like, 1, 4, 5 or whatever. So the guys get there and like, oh, okay, they like see it as you should see it if you know what it is. But to me, I'm like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
And they're talking about little changes and stuff, and I wasn't really tracking most of it. And then before we would go in to record, I'd be like, okay, what do I need to know? I'm like, oh, like pause here and we're going to end like this or whatever. Okay, let's go. So you pick things up slowly, probably too slowly for me, but it's definitely like, it's a whole nother language with like guys at that level chatting about it.
And you're just, they're like speaking Mandarin in front of you basically, like, but that's cool though. Like, cause you are going to grow as an artist. So it's good to hear all this stuff and absorb it. And then eventually maybe you try producing your own.
Oh yeah. Well, I was like not that
you're not already, but
I was a co-producer. So it was me, Gord, and the engineer and co-producer named Johnny, who's at MCC Studio. And it's like, it was a good mix and a good team. I found it worked really well.
Yeah. There was no like butting heads or anything.
No, there was a lot of me telling them to take stuff out. Like, what was that? Like, there's no tracks allowed on this. There's no loops allowed on this. I'm like, and more fiddle. That's generally what I said.
more fiddle.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So when they do this, like, I know that they have session musicians in Nashville, and they're some of the best in the world. Yeah. Now, do you have a say in who comes in, or is it just like, this is who's coming in to do this work with you?
No, I have a say in every part of it, which is the beauty about being an independent artist is, I was planning the whole studio session with Gord, and we talked about going to Nashville because of, the session guys being so good. And then we talked about the pluses and minuses, and we recorded in Calgary. And I didn't want to me, it sounds like Nashville is very like come in with a song and they're like, they could do like 1 or 2 takes and they're gone. I wanted it to be more like, just slow it down and enjoy the studio time and kind of connect with everybody a little bit more. And so that's what we did. And Gord got a collection of really good musicians. Most of them are in his band, and I've like, won a whole stack of awards all over the place, including Grammys. And then the fiddle player plays with Dean Brody. His name is Shane Gousset, and he's played some live shows with us, and he's just phenomenal. And who else is on there? Justin Cutting plays with Brett Kissel. He's the bass player, and like there's another title term like music leader or something. And then we got the steel guitar and harmonica were from Nashville.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we imported some Canadian talent for it. I like it.
And then
I like it.
Most of it was Canadian, almost all the players. And then there's a track called Last Picture of Johnny Cash. It's the only song on there that I didn't write.
Okay.
It was kind of pitched to me and with a bunch of songs, and the vibe and everything of it was very cool. And I recorded it actually, and then I hated it. And then I was like, oh shit, I told Gord that I liked the song, but now I don't like it. I don't like the way I'm singing. There's some things I don't like. But we ended up renovating the whole song. So I took out this guitar part and added steel guitar, and a friend of mine from Nashville named Ellis Melillo came, and she sang a verse and helped with the chorus and turned it into a duet. And it turned out really cool.
That's awesome.
So we'll release that one after Adios Amigo.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So it is one of the 8 then.
It's one of the 8.
Nice.
Need to cut at the end.
Yeah.
Song about Johnny made the cut.
Yeah.
Yes, guy. Yes, guy.
Well, you have Johnny on your sleeve, so
I do.
Yeah.
Goes wherever I go.
that's all right.
Yes.
Do you find like when people speak to you about your songs, if is it as you intended, or do you find that some people come up to you and say something about a song that you've played for them, and they're like, and you're like, no, that has nothing to do with it, or like you maybe say, oh, that's cool that you've said that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
music, everyone kind of interprets it differently or feels it differently, which is a cool thing about music. Most of them, I mean, I'm not writing anything too mystical. Like, it's pretty simple, country inspired music. So most of the time it's like, I felt this song because of this. I'm like, yeah, that's basically what it was about. And I think for the most part that's happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I write simple songs.
Yeah, no. Well, but it may change. Like, you never know, right? You might. But it was an interesting. I always find that interesting when somebody like maybe comes up to you and says, "Oh, that song really made me think of this," and then it's like, no, that's the complete right turn. But
Don't you ever think that about my song.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
That's not what I meant to say.
Fuck you.
No.
Shut your mouth.
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me. 3/4 in the truth, baby.
Yeah.
Do you, now that you've toured around a little bit, do you have a favorite place to go play? Like that you get excited. Hey, we're going to be playing so-and-so in, say, like Calgary, as an example.
Oh, man. I love playing in Alberta. I think if you're speaking venues.
Doesn't have to be a venue. It could just be like,
Yeah, I like going home to play in Alberta.
Absolutely.
Those are, two very exciting and I won't say chaotic, but wild.
let's say
wild
chaotic.
shows. We played at the Grey Eagle Casino in Calgary, and then finished it at the U of A in Edmonton. It's a bar none event, and it was wild.
Did you meet up with a lot of the old buddies and stuff?
Yeah, there's a bunch of dudes that came from like battalion when I was in the military there, and then I still got a lot of friends that live in Edmonton, and they all came out.
Nice.
And then 2,000 university kids.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Chaotic.
Yeah. That'd be a good mix. And you must obviously having a younger son now, and you have your young daughter, and you have kids elsewhere as well. But do you find that you need that your support at home is so amazing? Like, do you think that your partner is does a lot while you can fulfill this dream?
Yeah. It's I said this before because I was in the military before, so you're gone or deployed all the time, and so she was very supportive with that. And then you get out of that instead of doing anything normal. I'm like, I want to be a songwriter.
Yeah.
And she's just been incredibly supportive. From while I was in the military, I was playing 3, 4, sometimes 5 bar shows in a week. So I'd go to work, come home. Okay, everyone's doing good. Okay, I'm gonna pack up. I gotta go load into whatever bar it is and play for the next 3 hours. I'll see you at 1 a.m. And just did that over and over and over. And with the travel and Nashville and just all these things, it's extremely the support is unbelievable.
Yeah. You'll wear a trip somewhere at some point.
What's that?
You'll wear a trip. Yeah.
We've luckily played a couple of shows and festivals in Mexico, so we brought them along.
Yeah, I hope so.
This is work.
Yeah. Come on down.
Yeah.
I'll be at the bar. Sorry. Yeah.
Well, you've got a really good support system, because I saw the show at the War Museum a while back. That was a good show. I would just say you've got some scary friends.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say that. I told Gus, I said, I've never been so frightened to be in a room in my life.
I see you're probably the safest you've ever been.
I've probably,
Yeah.
and I'm not a small guy, but I was looking at some of these guys, the way they just held themselves. I'm like, he's somebody you don't mess with, and him and her, but it was such a great show, and it was just a really good vibe, and they were just loving it.
Yeah.
And you were loving it. I could just tell, it was just such a great feeling to be at that show. It was a lot of fun.
Well, that one was cool because it was one of the first show. I think it was the first actually. We organized everything ourselves. So we chose the venue, did the ticketing, hired catering, met with the sound, just did all of it. And I got to see kind of all sides of it. And it was cool to see it
I was supposed to go too. What happened?
I don't remember what happened.
I had kids.
Oh,
I think it was on the
That's
same.
what happened.
I had twin girls. I think on the same day.
It was nothing important. It was just that
I
he
almost
couldn't make
stepped
it.
out. I was like, oh, I'll be back.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Honey,
yeah.
just
90 minutes.
Yeah.
I swear, 90 minutes to 3 hours.
It's really not far from the general.
Yeah, it's not that far.
You know.
I don't know why you weren't there.
when did you like start, like obviously you play music because you love it, but when did you start taking it like seriously, like I want to, this is what I'm going to do? Obviously you mentioned that you said that to your wife, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I decided that before I did my first open mic, or else I would never have done an open mic. So it was the fall of 2019 is when there's a couple things that happened, like through travel in the military, and just like I just started paying more attention to live music. I don't know, for some reason I'd gone to concerts. I've always been a music fan, but like music, people playing in the pub or playing in the bar, it was just like, to me, it would be like the people that I play to now. I'm like, fucking pay attention, you know?
Yeah.
But I just, you drink beers with your friends, like, oh, they got live music. Oh, they sound great. I just started paying more attention to how cool it was, and that someone is doing that for like a job, you know, or part of a job. And I thought that was awesome. And then it was actually like I had a loss in my family, which was my brother passed away, and he was big into music, and he had like a studio in his basement, and we talked because I could play a couple of songs. Like my goal before was I had a guitar. I just want to play a couple at a campfire and pitch in if I passed the guitar around. And that was about it. And I wouldn't play my guitar sometimes for 6 or 8 months at a time. I knew about 3 chords, and we just never, because my other job was so busy, and I was like, well, I'm not a musician. Why am I going to record a song? Yeah. And we never did it. And then he passed away, and I was like, why was I not doing that? Why was I waiting? It was kind of those two interests colliding where I was like, what do I want to do next? So that was the fall of 2019.
Interesting. Do you find like, and going on that, I mean, losing your brother was, I've done, that's happened to me as well. Different circumstances, but do you do it for him a little bit?
For sure. Yeah. It's like a connection. Yeah. And the music and songwriting was like extremely therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure it is for everybody in some way, but it helped a lot. Like just writing about it. Some songs that never, parts of songs, full songs that have never, you know, don't go out or whatever, but it's still just like getting it out. Yeah. Helped immensely. And we're very, like a lot of like my merch and stuff is, you know, you heard you're saying everything kind of has some type of meaning and stuff. A lot of it has him in there as well. And
Adios Amigo?
Yeah. Well, the cover of that live album, there's like a little character with a beard, and that's actually based off a picture of my brother at Halloween. He's like dressed as a little outlaw with a cowboy hat and a beard, and it's the exact same, but the guy just made it into a cartoon.
Amazing.
So yeah, he's on there.
Good. That's
cool,
awesome.
Cool.
I love that it has like a backstory.
His shirts. I love the shirt. It's just
it's not just a new one too,
a name on a black shirt. It's a white shirt with lots of like nice red and other colors in it.
Yeah,
it's a lot different. I love that shirt.
I liked about it as well is like you don't like everybody has a black band shirt, right? And it's like okay. And then when you came and you were nice enough to bring us a couple T-shirts, like I know I asked Dawg which one do you want, and I wanted the same one, but I got the hotel one, which is super cool too, because the story, right? And that's again, I'm all about the story. Like I enjoy that part of it.
Well, that one I made, and most of it I'll get made for myself. I'm like, oh, I can make my own T-shirt. Yeah. So like the hotel one was the hotel we were deployed to in Iraq, and I was like, I had the symbol on some piece of paper, like a shoehorn or something from the place. And I gave it to an artist. I'm like, can you make this into a shirt? I'm like, a lot of guys I think would like this. And it's like guys I'd worked with. And then like the little picture for the little outlaw dude on the Adios Amigo shirt is like, oh, I want to have this on a shirt or a hat or something. So most of my merch, I'll make a version that says, you know, my name on it for music. And then I'll do one just without my name on it. It's on my hoodie or T-shirt or hat or whatever.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, like, and then you kind of incorporate the little dude and everything, which is kind of cool. Yeah, and even this is obviously from your background from military for sure.
But even that little logo, like you know, it's immediate. It's Dallas. You see that little, you know what I mean? It's an immediate recognition. Is the word I was looking for.
Well done.
Yeah. Thank you. That's
it's like when we put the Dawg and Gus caricatures on stuff that people know.
No,
people know.
Ottawa people know.
They just know.
Yeah.
That's not true. We're
gonna go on tour in Nashville.
We're international.
I'd love to.
Actually, we're known in the U.S.
But, your uncle.
I have an uncle
your uncle's
in Denver, so
he's
we
in
got
Denver.
one person.
Yeah.
We have 4 people in Denver that love us.
What's the great place to go play in Denver in Colorado?
The Grizzly.
Yeah,
Grizzly Rose.
That's right. You got to play the Grizzly, man.
That's a great venue.
Yeah.
We'll
put it on your list.
Put it
when
on the
I
list.
stayed, I was in Colorado for a few months. We went there a few times. It's great. Saw some great live music there. It was awesome. Yep. So now I want to ask, do you have a WTF music? Like, we know you're a country guy. We know that you like Jamie Johnson. We know that you like the Turnpike Troubadours. Now, is there anything in your collection to make you kind of look at you and go, what the hell, Dallas? And
Oh, maybe. It depends on what you like or don't like. Like, I listen to so much stuff. My house in the morning is like classical, jazz. I'll listen like some older school stuff. Like, give me, and it'll be like talking to Siri, but like, give me stuff that sounds like Etta James, and it's just like that'll play all day. I just really like a lot. Yeah, I don't know if any of that would be like WTF. I don't know, but you're not going to hear any, like, I don't know, like if you're like Backstreet Boys or something like that.
Oh,
that
disappointing.
No, that will never be playing. I don't
No,
know.
same. I hear a lot of Raffi these days, but that's about it. You must put on Raffi.
You'll definitely get some like mixed in my algorithms, some Frozen soundtrack or
him too.
Moana. Or
yeah, same with him. Every time we're playing, we're going to Montreal to see this thing, and all of a sudden it pops on. It's
Baby
like,
Beluga in the Deep Blue Sea.
Oh, that's a great tune, though. I'm
Actually,
Big
we're
fan.
all fruit salad. That's a solid tune too.
we're waiting for who.
It's amazing how our lives change when we have a kid. Right?
Who's going to cover that again? Going to do a version of? Oh, it's going to be Eve of Uprise.
Eve of Uprise. Yeah,
It's a band we had on here.
They're like a heavy band, so it'd be amazing actually.
That'd be kind of fun.
So the trio, do you guys like? Are you writing together, or do you kind of just connect and then are you writing your own stuff and then they play with you?
Yeah, mainly I'll write and then we just kind of figure out how we're going to play it live. And a lot of the stuff from the album, let's say, we're not playing it like in the studio because we have the luxury of 7 musicians or whatever, and we're just playing with a trio. So we'll just turn that into the best vibe for our live show with the instruments that we have, and then that's about it. I'll normally come with a song and how it's going to go and the progression and tempo and stuff, and then Matt, my drummer, will drum something cool, and then Jesse will play some fiddle.
There you go.
And then I'll say more fiddle.
Yeah, exactly.
More fiddle.
Jesse, step it up.
Yeah, no cowbell, more fiddle.
Yeah.
That's another question I always ask too, is like when you're going into the studio and you're thinking, you got like you said, you got like 7 guys working with you, but then you're thinking, okay, well, this sounds great in the studio, but how are we going to tweak this to go live with 3 of us?
Yeah.
Like, does that ever come into your head? We're like, oh, this song is way too busy to do live.
Not really. I did a lot of stripping down in the songs. I worked with the musician or the engineer a lot after, and was like, okay, we don't like just stripping it down as much as could with leaving the instruments that I wanted, because my goal is to play with 7, 8, 9 people anyway. As soon as I can go on tour with 10-piece band, and everyone's going to be playing something. So because I enjoy those instruments and sounds so much and what they bring to a song, I wanted to have them in, with my goal down the road being a full band tour anyway.
That'll lead into like, what's your 5-year plan? Like in the next 5 years, what would you like to see?
Going on tour with a 10-piece band.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough.
I want to play a lot in the States. We were just chatting before, the visa's in and stuff. So it's starting to, looks like it's going to happen. We're going down to Nashville and meeting a lot of good people. And I think it's for a few reasons. Most of my favorite music comes from different areas down there. There's also such an incredible appetite for the type of music that I play. And there's just millions more people to connect to it than here. So, and you see it in a lot of different places, but if you have, let's say, some type of musical success in the States, it's just amplified here. So I'll always come back and forth and play and be playing music wherever I can. But I think that the 5-year plan is like to focus in the US and play around Texas and Nashville and this kind of southern, well, anywhere actually.
Yeah, it'd be like 10
Grizzly,
times.
what do we call
The
it?
Grizzly Rose.
Grizzly Rose.
It's a great
just
name.
be on tour. And to me, like, success for music is that like I can play with a full band and my family can come whenever they want to. Sometimes they don't want to. And just play as much as I can.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, get your licks in and go.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So you're thinking Texas, Nashville. I'm going to throw in California in there because they got a good vibe in California too.
Not these days.
Well, they did.
Depends where you go.
I know,
No,
depends.
but
I know what you mean.
They
I
can
know
go to
what you mean.
Bakersfield.
Bakersfield, yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. I was just being smart ass.
And like every state I think of, like there's good musicians or venues that are there. So I will play everywhere.
He's gonna be everywhere, man. Yeah.
Wait to
Love
see
it.
him on Austin City Limits.
Hey,
Wait to see him on Austin City Limits.
Yeah, that would be cool.
that'd
It's a
be
pretty good
cool,
show, yeah.
Go to the Troubadour.
Yeah.
Big dreams, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's good. We're big dreaming for you. All right. Well, we asked the question we've asked you before, but let's do it anyway. And is it 80s or 90s music for you?
What genre?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
You have to. So you have to weigh it all out and then
Yeah.
just pick
All
a
of it.
decade.
Take it all in your hands. Do this,
90s.
and then say 80s, not 90s.
No, he's with me, man. He's with me. He's younger than us, you know.
Yeah, it's because you're wearing his hat. That's
Well,
why.
we're both similar in age. we'll
I
say.
actually did
But
this
yeah.
experiment the other day. I was probably months ago now. I was on a long drive and I was like, play like 80s country. And it came on and I was like, there's a lot of it I either didn't know or I didn't really like. Then I put on 90s country. I'm like, oh yeah, there's a lot of this that I really like.
Oh, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I really am.
He's an 80s guy, but he prefers 90s country.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
The 80s country, I just like, well, because some of the guys started late in the 80s, like 87 to 90 was like your big guys like Clint Black, Alan Jackson, Garth Brooks, all those guys, Steve Earle. They all kind of got their groove. And then in the 90s, it just all exploded,
Yeah.
right? So the 80s kind of sucked for country. And I'm not afraid to say that.
See, that just weighs heavily in my, like the scale. So that's why.
See, there you go.
gotta
And
be
that's
90s.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it being 90s country as long as you didn't say hip hop.
I don't know if I know any 90s hip hop
There you go.
90s hip hop.
or 80s for that matter.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not big on 80s hip hop,
Yeah.
but yeah,
It's all in fun.
it just depends on where you came from. That's
Yeah.
all. Where you stand
Uh-huh.
is not, but I love country music now, and that was I evolved to that because I worked at Lone Star for so long that like I come from an area that you didn't listen to country music, you listen to 90s hip hop,
Yeah.
and then when I went to Lone Star, I started hearing the same songs over again, like Chattahoochee and
Oh
shit,
my
and I'm like, fuck. Do we have to hear Chattahoochee again? And then eventually now I love it,
Yeah.
right? Like so. 'Cause
Except-
I actually really like Alan Jackson. He's
Except
one of my
that song.
favorites.
He's got so many good songs.
I know
and I'm
Mercury
just-
Blue, his version of Mercury Blues is probably
It's
the
a
best
good one.
I like that one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, there's lots that his
But
songs
that
I
one
like.
is just overplayed and just,
Stapleton's my guy now. I like Stapleton a lot.
yeah, well, we know who my guy is. So
Yeah, we got lots, and I just love how country's going now.
Yeah.
Like all the guys we were talking about earlier. Jamie
well,
Johnson.
it seems to be a split though, right? Like you got your Jamie Johnsons and then you've got your Colder Wall.
Colder Wall's my. Like, I
and then-
listened to him actually before you got here. I was like,
You know what I
that's
mean?
had
But then
on.
you've got like Luke Combs,
Yeah.
Luke Bryan, what are like some of the guys that sound pretty much to me exactly the same.
Did you think
not
when you
Luke
first heard
Combs.
Colder Wall, like, did you think he was 55 years old?
Oh yeah,
'Cause-
maybe older. I thought.
Yeah, like the voice is like
I
so.
thought he was like Johnny Cash's
raspy.
grandpa.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, this old guy really.
He's like 24.
This old guy can really sing.
Yeah, he's got some shit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, he's awesome, and he's from Alberta, right? So,
Yep.
That's a
when
good
you
Canadian boy.
when you perform a song, have you noticed that people are singing it back to you, and how does that make you feel?
Yeah, a few times now. Like a handful of times there will be when I decide to open my eyes and be the first few shows. Maybe I close my eyes for the first 3 songs, but yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to see.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about it.
excited,
Yeah, it's
nervous,
It's super exciting,
Yeah.
but like it's
It's got to be an amazing feeling, though. Even if your eyes aren't open, you can hear them singing to you or singing with you, right? And it's like, oh, this is because I know. Oh, I don't know. But I know the couple of times we've been on stage introducing people. I can't see shit, like looking out past the stage, like. So I imagine the musicians are up there, just you're doing your thing, but you can't see past where Gus is sitting.
well, that's what I was saying. Like we played some theater shows, let's say that were a few hundred people, 500 people, and then the bigger arenas or casinos, and it's like 2,000 or 3,000 people. It's actually not that much of a difference because I can only see the first 4 or 5 rows,
Yeah.
really most of the time. But you're right about that.
Yeah. Well, that makes me sad because he pointed at me. Look, he pointed right at. No, he didn't. No, he
Yeah,
didn't even
yeah.
see you.
Yeah, Eric Church
Kidding.
like yelling at
Yeah,
everybody. and
yeah,
that's
exactly. Eric
Oh.
Church looked at us. No, he
he
didn't. He just looked in our
He
direction.
just pointed towards.
He's another-
that area. He's awesome. I love
He's
Eric
another guy that we consider to be a little bit on the outlaw side of country.
Church. I would say, yeah, he's Bakersfield though, isn't he?
I don't know.
I thought he was a California. No,
Is he?
he's
Gary Allen's
North
Cal-
Carolina. He's North
Gary
Carolina.
Allen's Gary Allen's a country.
Maybe
He's a
South
California
Carolina,
guy.
What's the so you're going back to Nashville? A few shows there. Like maybe just promote the tour a bit.
Well, I think this is going to be the whole focus of this month is songwriting.
Yeah.
So I have, as of now, I have a songwrite, which is a co-write, booked with 1, 2, 3 other artists, songwriters, every single weekday in March. It's going to be like a songwriting marathon.
Nice.
And it's starting to double book some of them now. I think there's 3 or 4 days where I've got 2 writes in a day. And it was just to like really focus on honing in the art of songwriting. Every time I've gone to do a co-write, whether it's a song we used or cut or nobody cut, I just learned so much every single time working with, these phenomenal songwriters that I'm like, let's learn for a whole month. And it was just, most of the stuff I'm going to play will just be songwriter rounds, because like with the visa stuff, I need to have the visa before you can book paying shows.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, it's all songwriting. I'm going to do some vocal lessons and some vocal training, and then writers rounds.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And then you're coming back up to Alberta
Coming back.
to be with Gord.
Yeah.
Are you guys planning on having any shows anywhere closer to us as opposed to us having to go to Alberta?
What do we have? We're just booking. It's kind of random right now. The year, like we were saying earlier, I'm kind of waiting to see where the visa goes and what's happening before we fill up the rest of the year. But yeah, I've got shows. Oh man, like July. There's one booked, I think, in London. There's a couple more out west in October, and again in December. I'm keeping them sparse for now, just until we see what happens with this visa. But yeah, the tour we did with Gord was all Ontario, out to the East Coast, and then back across to Alberta. So that we got to play a lot of places around here anyway.
Yeah. Cool. Make you. What was that tour like? Like, did you learn a lot, obviously, from Gord? But did you feel like it was a weird way to go all the way to east and then all the way back west?
No, that year, him and his band, they just toured constantly. So I was just happy to go in anyway. Yeah. And it was good that we were like around Ontario and then out east and came back across, because I would get to go home for like a day, go back out and meet wherever we were playing. And then I brought my family on the road a few times where it'd be like, 4 or 5 nights in a row. They got sick of like a new hotel every night. So
yeah.
That lasted about 4 or 5 days. And then another run we did, they stayed in Kingston. We stayed in Kingston for like 4 nights, and I drove out to different shows that we were doing within an hour or 2 of Kingston. Yeah. And then went out east, came back, a couple more shows so I could see them again, went out west. So it was like I was never away from my family for too long.
That's good,
because I'm not quite at where they want to come the entire time.
Yeah.
We don't have a fancy bus or anything yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He said yet.
Yeah.
He did say yet.
He has to put it out there, or else it's
absolutely.
You can't talk against it. You have to talk for it.
He said yet, and that's positive. So
I like it. Well, Dallas, thanks so much, man. We always appreciate having you, and thanks for being for our 100th episode.
Thanks for having me for number 100.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Like
pretty cool, man. Yeah. We look forward to seeing you go and do your thing, man. It's awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah. You deserve all the success. Thanks.
We're green.
Green means go.